Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? It is hot here in Connecticut, the American Northeast. I am not liking it. It's humid. It's hot. I hate heat like vampires hate the sun. Just not my thing. But so after an unseasonably cold spring, which I thought was great, now we have a nice hot summer. So it's New England, kids. So good things can't last forever. This video is not about that. This video is going to be talking about like motivations for learning new games. At least my motivations. It's nap time, for me, so I have to make this video quick and take a nap because tonight playing another session of All for One Regime Diabolique. Francois, JDRD 30 is going to be running it this time. We're going to be doing some kind of ball, a little Swedish king. Chancellor Irishner, well, that'll be fun. However, so I need to get some sleep because, we're starting at like 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and, I get up at 2:30. I don't have to get up tomorrow, but I'm tired, so I'm going to take a little nap. So I'm going to be at my best to save France and the Chancellor of Sweden and all that good junk as we protect the ball at the Louvre, or Louvre, whatever the Swedes might call it. Anyhow, I watched a video by John Allen Large, Red Dice Diaries, where he's talking about dilemmas. And what dilemma I've talked about quite a bit, like the return on investment in terms of learning a new game and how many systems do I really want to learn. How much do I want to invest my time here when I already know some other systems? Do I just want to get really good at a few systems, or do I want to kind of expand and learn other stuff? Am I really going to be able to make the best of it? Because it takes time. We're grown-ups. It takes more time. It takes time, more effort. We have to write stuff down, all this kind of junk. I'm right there. So I understood what he was saying. I also got the chance to play with Dark Age of role-playing games, as many of you know, because you should just be following in my every move, right? I'm very interesting. And that was a hoot. We played in Iron Falcon, which is by Chris Gonnerman. That was the name of the game, which I forgot. Same guy that does Basic Fantasy role-playing game. You can get it on Amazon. Super cheap. Great game. So I had a blast. But, more to the point of this video, I got to talk to him a little bit and then, watched him talking about some of the places he's in terms of gaming. It's funny because we have very, very similar histories in terms of when we started the hobby, when we stopped the hobby for a while, what we encountered when we came back. I almost like, in talking to him and watching some of his videos, I feel like he's kind of where I am mentally like a couple of years ago. So it's kind of interesting. So, but he's talking about things like 5th edition D&D, and like, does he really want to kind of invest more in that because, and other games similar to that, because you can get more players. It's more popular. It's tough if you're an OSR enthusiast, just like if you're an enthusiast of like an indie game, to be quite honest with you, to get people to play the game. Because there's other games that kind of dominate the market, so you can get a bigger, wider player base. You're using a bigger net. It takes less finesse to get them, and I understand that, because I've been there as well. And let's see what else. Got to watch Sebastian and Runeslinger, Anthony, play a game of All for One last night. They uploaded the video today. Really short, one shot, one-on-one. And what's even cooler, or just as cool, really, when it comes right down to it, is the talk they had afterwards, talking about this session, talking about gaming history, talking about the character, talking about the system, talking about a whole bunch of stuff, epiphanies in gaming. That was really neat because that once again ties into motivations for learning new games, etc. That whole thing. So for me at this point, there's the really easy things like hey, I like the guy. I like the like, say I like OSR because I do. And I like Jeff Talanian. He was a nice dude. I was kind of intrigued to buy his game, but I bought it because he's a really cool dude, and the game's really cool too. It turns out like James Radge, pretty cool dude too. So Lamentations of Flame Princess, good stuff. But I got introduced to that just because somebody was playing it. Said, here's a system we're going to play. So sometimes it's that. There have been times, obviously, if you watch my channel, you can figure this out, where I've gotten to know other people, I've gotten to respect their opinions, and I've become interested in games and systems because that's what they like, or that's some of the things they're hot on. So I'm lucky enough to be playing with 3 guys in this All for One campaign that have turned me onto different systems. So that's really kind of cool because these are guys that really kind of, Francois turned me on to like things like Advanced Fighting Fantasy, and I haven't gotten D6 Star Wars, but he's big on the D6 system and whatnot. I've looked at some of the stuff, just like stuff you can find online for free. But I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool too. Sebastian's obviously big into 7th C First Edition and GURPS. Haven't gotten to the GURPS thing yet. Might be too much for me. That's sad, right? And Runeslinger's, talking me into a few games, talking me out of a few dollars when it comes right down to it. So there's a thing where for me, where I respect the individual, and I respect their opinion. I'm like, hey, this does sound like something cool and intriguing to check out. One of the things, though, I did not expect was the effect it's had on my understanding of the games I already know. As it's been my experience anyway, that as I've delved into games like like things like Circle of Hands or Broken Rooms or the Ubiquity line, all the games like All for One and Desolation and Leagues of Adventure, Leagues of Gothic Horror, all that kind of stuff. As I've learned those systems more and more, it's had me understanding things about like the OSR more, like why certain things I like, certain things I don't like, different ways to skin a cat, different ways to approach gaming regardless of the rules, based on the kind of game experience these other games suggest. It's really kind of eye-opening when it comes right down to it. And the more, obviously, I haven't put as much effort into learning, all the nuances of Circle of Hands or Broken Rooms because I haven't played them yet. But even just looking at those games, realizing like how you can, something like Broken Rooms, you can pare down stats, quite a bit, and pare down the need for die rolls quite a bit. And even to the point where like a lot of skills become less necessary. You're kind of like this one-trick pony. But I understand the games I already play better as a result of that. So it's kind of weird. Even looking at something like 7th Sea, which I've only really kind of jumped into recently and really enjoyed, I can see how there's a very different experience than something like All for One and Ubiquity. It is much more over the top when it comes right down to it. That fits Sebastian perfectly. But it makes me understand the other games more. It makes me even understand like things like the OSR more. Some of the feels, some of the things you have to put your own effort into that aren't supported by mechanics, etc. It makes me understand the boundaries. Both looking at several different games makes me understand the boundaries and the intentions of the other one. I'm not sure if you had that experience. I'm not sure if that makes sense to you, but I found that over and over again. As I've learned different systems, as I've played different systems. That they've enhanced my ability, or my understanding rather, of role-playing as a whole, but also enhanced my understanding of the games that I thought I already knew. I just remember just doing that series on, how to play OSR games like, Lamentations, etc., which was instructive in its own way to really kind of dissect a game. But as I've looked at other games unrelated to that, it's made me understand those games, even better. Just even looking at like, no, I'm rambling at this point. The magic system of something like Desolation versus, the Vancian magic in D&D versus the different take on magic in something like All for One, or the psychic powers, how they handle those powers in things like Broken Rooms. It's all, or the magic system. Let's go right down to it in Circle of Hands. They all kind of make me understand the other systems better. Something I didn't expect. So I'm not sure if you've had that experience, but I'd like to hear about it if you have. How about that?